Welcome to an introduction to the Responsible Business Alliance, or RBA, an industry group that aligns its members on responsible business standards. This group was formerly known as Electronic Industry Citizenship Coalition, or EICC. HP is also a founding member of the RBA group. HP continues to build on a 12-year history of working closely with the Responsible Business Alliance, or RBA, to advance sustainability standards in the industry by sharing our knowledge and best practices. The Responsible Business Alliance represents over 150 member companies in a diverse set of industry sectors. These sectors include retail, automotive, electronics, and equipment. RBA members commit and are held accountable to a common code of conduct and utilize a range of RBA training and assessment tools to support continual improvement in the social, environmental, and ethical responsibility of their supply chains. The logos displayed on the screen represent the companies who are the members of Responsible Business Alliance Group as of 2019. RBA requires its members to collaborate in order to improve working and environmental conditions through leading standards and practices. As an example of this collaborative approach, HP donated our Foreign Migrant Worker Standard Guidance document and shared it with other RBA members seeking additional support on best practices. HP sets bold goals to drive progress and integrate social and environmental considerations across our value chain and businesses. We at HP are committed to making a positive, enduring impact on the planet, our people, and communities worldwide. Let us now learn about these in detail. Planet. We are committed to protecting and strengthening the health of our planet by developing and delivering a product portfolio that is designed with sustainability in mind and that helps to contribute to a more efficient, circular, and low-carbon economy. Our products, solutions, and services also support our customers to achieve their own sustainability goals. Together, we can achieve more. And we live our values each day through our sustainable operations and facilities worldwide. People. Our supply chain extends to our employees and our partners. We reinforce equal and human rights for all. We are reinventing the standards for diversity and inclusion and are building the pipeline for getting diverse talent. We protect and empower all workers in our supply chain so the people who make our products can thrive at work, at home, and in their respective communities. Community. We aim to create a positive impact on the communities where we live, work, and do business. Through our products and solutions, social impact programs, and key strategic partnerships, we are working to enable quality technology-enabled learning that engages students, empowers educators, and unlocks opportunities. Through the volunteer efforts of our global employees, we contribute time and skills to build vibrant, healthy communities. When disasters strike, we are there to assist. HP. Our employees and the HP Foundation together provide financial support for affected communities, working with our expert partners. Our commitment starts with HP Sustainability and Human Rights Policy and SER standard. The HP Sustainability and Human Rights Policy expresses our corporate objective for citizenship and drives our other objectives like meeting our customers' needs, engaging and developing our people, and delivering profitable growth and business stability over the long term. We take steps to advance the respect of human rights and do not permit child, prison, forced, or trafficked labor. We believe all people are entitled to internationally recognized basic rights and freedoms. We promise to respect the rights expressed in HP sustainability policy. HP expects suppliers to make the same commitment and provide their employees with ways to report concerns. The social and environmental responsibility standard sets expectations for our operations and builds on HP sustainability and human rights policy. The SER standard truly focuses on compliance with internal manufacturing operations. All internal operations, including non-manufacturing activities, must comply with the SER standard. HP manufacturing operations include all operations, procurement, production, warehouse, shipping, receiving, incoming inspections, quality assurance, logistics, and any others that support manufacturing or distribution of products. This commitment extends to our supply chain through the HP Supplier Code of Conduct. The HP Supplier Code of Conduct is based on the Responsible Business Alliance Code of Conduct and reflects additional HP standards and expectations and the nature of our suppliers' operations. The Responsible Business Alliance Code of Conduct sets minimum requirements in 4 areas: labor, health and safety, environment, and ethics. These requirements are turned into commitments through a management system. Each of these areas has RBA codes and audit protocols for verification and validation of those commitments. In addition to the RBA, HP has defined 2 more policies: the Student and Dispatch Worker Standard for supplier facilities in the People's Republic of China, and the Foreign Migrant Worker Standard for suppliers employing foreign migrant workers. In addition, HP promotes the core labor rights under the 1998 ILO Declaration of Fundamental Principles and Rights at Work. Objectives of HP Social and Environmental Responsibility, or SER Standard R2, ensure that working conditions in our operations and supply chain are safe, guarantee that all workers are treated with dignity and respect, assure that business operations are conducted in an environmentally responsible and ethical way. So how does HP's SER standard and supplier code of conduct build on RBA? It starts with how we guide employee behavior at HP. This behavior is grounded in ethics. Integrity at HP policy forms the foundation for ethical business practices at HP and our dealings with customers, suppliers, and partners. In labor, we focus on providing a global best work environment. For environment, our environmental health and safety, or EHS policy, applies. That same policy addresses the health and safety of our work environment. Our commitment is reflected in those policies and in our processes and systems to manage those policies. These standards and policies are organized and color-coded to help you recognize and find them quickly. Integrity at HP guides us on how to win the right way, how to protect and strengthen our reputation, and how to sustain our success for the long term. Anti-corruption. Never provide, offer, pay, ask for, or accept anything of value in order to win business or improperly influence a decision, even if it means losing business and regardless of local practice or the practices of other companies. Make sure you avoid even the appearance of impropriety. This and other ethical behavior expectations like business amenities and conflicts of interest is what our anti-corruption policy focuses on. Sustainable impact at HP expresses our corporate objectives for citizenship and drives our other corporate objectives, including meeting our customers' needs, engaging and developing our people, and delivering profitable growth and business stability over the long term. We take steps to advance the respect of human rights and do not permit child, prison, forced, or trafficked labor. We believe all people are entitled to internationally recognized basic rights and freedoms. We promise to respect the rights expressed in the HP sustainability policy. We expect suppliers to make the same commitment and provide employees and suppliers with the ways to report any concerns. HP aspires to be the best place to do business and the best place to work. Therefore, how we do things is as important as what we do. Based on our shared values, we hold the following high standards for the personal conduct of all employees and extended outsource providers. The Global Best Work Environment policy applies to all HP employees wherever and whenever business is conducted on behalf of the company. Promote trust and respect. Promote and encourage an inclusive work environment free of harassment. Do not behave in a disrespectful, hostile, violent, intimidating, threatening, or harassing manner. HP has zero tolerance for any form of sexual harassment, including unwanted sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, display of sexually explicit materials, or any other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature. Embrace our diversity. HP values differences, whether race, ethnicity, gender, nationality, ability, military status, religion, generation, or sexual orientation. We engage top industry talent to drive our company's long-term success. Every employee has a responsibility to report any alleged misconduct immediately. Use the HP open door policy to raise concerns. Managers and supervisors must encourage open and honest communication. HP does not tolerate retaliation against anyone who raises a concern or question honestly and in good faith. Every HP employee must feel free to speak out about potential integrity at HP violations without fear of retaliation. HP is committed to conducting its business in a manner that delivers leading environmental health and safety performance. This policy applies to all HP business organizations and employees wherever they are carrying out work on behalf of HP worldwide. Our goals are to provide products and services that are environmentally safe and sound throughout their life cycles, conduct our business in an environmentally responsible manner, and create health and safety practices and work environments that enable us to work injury-free. Additional standards and requirements like the general specification of the environment, export of electronic waste to developing countries policy, vendor requirements for hardware recycling standard, and the vendor requirements for hardware reuse standards define our expectations and set the standards for our operations and suppliers. Prevent safety risks. Comply with safety, health, and security policies and procedures. Be proactive in preserving your safety and the safety of those around you. Always follow, use personnel protective equipment as prescribed. Participate in site fire drills. Follow all safety procedures in your operation. Report H&S concerns. All HP suppliers must comply with the HP Supplier Code of Conduct. This includes all entities that provide goods or services, whether to or on behalf of HP. For example, but not limited to suppliers manufacturing HP products, packaging, parts, components, subassemblies, and materials. Suppliers involved in the process related to manufacturing and suppliers providing services to or on behalf of HP, regardless of where the service is being performed, must follow the HP Supplier Code of Conduct. Let's review in more detail the RBA Code of Conduct. Each area, labor, ethics, environment, health and safety, and management system focuses on specific standards and audit protocols and is supported by multiple HP standards and policies. In this course, we will primarily focus on the elements within the labor category. Click each area to know the detailed information. The Code of Conduct elements for labor management are freely chosen employment, foreign migrant workers, working hours, wages and benefits, humane treatment, young workers, freedom of association, non-discrimination. Click each button to know more. As part of the freely chosen employment area, companies must ensure all work is voluntary. Forced bonded, including debt bondage or indentured labor, and voluntary or exploitive prison labor is not present in the work environment. Slavery or trafficking of persons shall not be used. This includes transporting, harboring, recruiting, transferring, or receiving persons by means of threat, force, coercion, abduction, or fraud for labor or services. No restriction should be imposed on workers' freedom of movement in the facilities, in addition to unreasonable restrictions on entering or exiting company-provided facilities. Studies of business practices clearly link worker strain to reduced productivity, increased turnover, and increased injury and illness. Working hours are not to exceed the maximum set by local law. Further, a work week should not be more than 60 hours per week, including overtime, except in emergency or unusual situations. Workers shall be allowed at least one day of every 7 days. The RBA Code of Conduct establishes that in cases where the code and local law differ, the guiding principle to be applied is the more strict. In the case of working hours, if country allows more than 60 working hours per week, the expectation is to operate under RBA's Code of Conduct. There is to be no harsh and inhumane treatment, including any sexual harassment, sexual abuse, corporal punishment, mental or physical coercion, or verbal abuse of workers, nor is there to be the threat of any such treatment. Disciplinary policies and procedures in support of these requirements shall be clearly defined and communicated to workers. In conformance with local law, employers shall respect the right of all workers to form and join trade unions of their own choosing, to bargain collectively, and to engage in peaceful assembly, as well as respect the right of workers to refrain from such activities. Workers and or their representatives shall be able to openly communicate and share ideas and concerns with management regarding working conditions and management practices without fear of discrimination, reprisal, intimidation, or harassment. All companies who want to hire foreign migrant workers should conduct due diligence to prevent and identify recruitment costs in the sending as well as receiving country. In addition, they must ensure that all foreign migrant workers are hired directly by company, received equal benefits as local employees, provided with a written employment agreement in their native language that contains a description of terms and conditions of employment prior to the worker departing from his or her country of origin, have a locker so they can store their personal documents like passports safely, not required to pay employers or agents recruitment fees or other related fees for their employment. If any such fees are found to have been paid by workers, these shall be repaid to the worker. Free to leave work at any time or terminate their employment. In addition, the employer should provide foreign migrant workers with appropriate accommodations and necessary facilities. Compensation paid to workers shall comply with all applicable wage laws, including those relating to minimum wages, overtime hours, and legally mandated benefits. In compliance with local laws, workers shall be compensated for overtime at pay rates greater than regular hourly rates. Deductions from wages as a disciplinary measure shall not be permitted. For each pay period, workers shall be provided with a timely and understandable wage statement that includes sufficient information to verify accurate compensation for work performed. All use of temporary dispatch and outsourced labor will be within the limits of the local law. Child labor is not to be used in any stage of manufacturing. The term child refers to any person under the age of 15 or under the age of completing compulsory education or under the minimum age for employment in the country, whichever is greatest. The use of legitimate workplace learning programs, which comply with all laws and regulations, is supported. Workers under the age of 18, young workers, shall not perform work that is likely to jeopardize their health or safety, including night shifts and overtime. Employers shall ensure proper management of student workers through proper maintenance of student records, rigorous due diligence of educational partners, and protection of students' rights in accordance with applicable law and regulations. Employers shall provide appropriate support and training. Employees should be committed to a workforce free of harassment and unlawful discrimination. Companies shall not engage in discrimination based on race, color, age, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, ethnicity or national origin, disability, pregnancy, religion, political affiliation, union membership, covered veteran status, protected genetic information, or marital status. There shall not be any discrimination in hiring and employment practices such as wages, promotions, rewards, and access to training. Workers shall be provided with reasonable accommodation for religious practices. In addition, workers or potential workers should not be subjected to medical tests or physical exams that could be used in discriminatory ways. The following requirements should be addressed. environmental permits and reporting, pollution prevention and resource reduction, hazardous substances, solid waste, air emissions, materials restrictions, water management, energy consumption, and greenhouse gas emissions. This standard consists of company commitment, management accountability and responsibility, legal and customer requirements, risk assessment and risk management, improvement objectives, training, communication, worker feedback, participation and grievance, audits and assessments, corrective action process, documentation and records, supplier responsibility. To meet social responsibilities and to achieve success in the marketplace, employees and employers are to uphold the highest standards of ethics, including business integrity, no improper advantage, disclosure of information, intellectual property, fair business, advertising and competition, protection of identity and non retaliation, responsible sourcing of minerals, privacy. In the health and safety area, companies must have in place policies, procedures, and appropriate practices to ensure occupational safety, emergency preparedness, occupational injury and illness, industrial hygiene, physically demanding work, machine safeguarding, sanitation, food and housing, health and safety communication. Social and environmental responsibility starts with identifying potential risks in operation and putting controls in place to mitigate these risks. All these risks are covered by HP policies and standards building on RBA. These risks include labor risks like underage workers and forced labor. They extend to the work conditions and occupational safety and may culminate in environmental community damage from emergencies or disasters or hazardous waste spoiling the environments we work and live in. Finally, ensuring our minerals are ethically sourced. Let's review in detail what the risk of RBA Code of Conduct is trying to prevent and the expected work conditions to prevent them. First of all, workers should be free to speak, leave, and participate in activities. For example, a worker should be able to leave their workspace to use the restroom without fear or punishment or deduction of salary. Workers should not be under the age of 15, and workers between ages 15 and 18 should not have to work night shifts or perform hazardous job tasks. No worker should have their passport, school certificates, or other documentation withheld. Suppliers can provide lockers or personal pouches for safekeeping. Employees should receive a pay stub regularly outlining their pay and cannot be discounted fees for unreasonable causes. Workers should be provided adequate housing facilities and safe working conditions, including personal protective equipment where needed. Finally, workers cannot face abuse of any kind, including verbal abuse, threats, sexual harassment, mental or physical coercion. To view examples of deviation to the RBA Code of Conduct, click on relevant icon for each category. You have reached the Learning Check section. Identify the features of the Responsible Business Alliance organization. Select the correct option and click Submit. Identify the correct 5 pillars of the Responsible Business Alliance Code of Conduct. Select the correct options and click Submit. Drag and drop each element to the appropriate category and click Submit. Select the correct option to complete the sentence. Select the correct option containing the phrases to complete the sentence and click Submit. Select the correct option to complete the sentence and click Submit. A worker must be given at least 2 days off for every 7 days of work. Select the correct option and click Submit. Scanning in and out for another worker is a misconduct. Select the correct option and click Submit. Deduction of wages for disciplinary measure is not allowed. Select the correct option and click Submit. Bribery and gift acceptance from third parties are allowed. Select the correct option and click Submit. Which element does the following statement belong to? Select the correct option and click Submit. Which element does the following statement belong to? Select the correct option and click Submit. Which subcode does the following statement belong to? Select the correct option and click Submit. Which element does the following statement belong to? Which subcode does the following statement belong to? Select the correct option and click Submit. Now that you have completed the evaluation, let's learn about the responsibilities associated with each role. If you are a manager, you are expected to conduct and facilitate training or awareness among your team, coach and counsel supervisors or workers pertaining to compliance and issues, provide feedback, report any unsolvable issue to the site compliance and review boards for further action, assist or facilitate lead investigators for any violation, be inquisitive and always keep up with the latest policies. If you are a supervisor, you are expected to be well aware of the company's current policies, comply and enforce applicable policies without fear and favor, report any noncompliance to the respective authorities at the earliest available opportunity. If you are a worker, you are expected to comply fully to the company's policies, report any non-compliance to relevant authorities at the earliest opportunity available. HP's progress on sustainability can only be successful with the help of our full supply chain. We rely on you to be our eyes and ears and report issues and risks. Please take the time to review HP standards and policies, review your master contract and the SER clause, and understand HP sustainability strategy. If you have questions, please contact the Sustainability and Compliance Center at sustainability@hp.com. For ethical concerns, please follow the process and use the escalation paths provided by Integrity at HP.
Thank you for your time and participation in this training. As a reminder, before you complete this course, please review the resources and download the resource document. It provides links to pertinent HP standards and policies and more details on the RBA expectations. It will help you meet HP's expectations and demonstrate your commitment to HP or external auditors. These materials can be saved to your PC and printed as reference. We wish you all the best.